Welcome back to another Sword Art Online Alice Land review. Today is episode 8. I'm Justin.
What is up? I'm Logan.
And together we're Couch Talk. As always, we are anime viewers only. No source material. And we're going to discuss the episode and give our scores at the end. You ready to talk about this?
Sure, this title seems to change every week.
Last week I said the title. The week before I butchered the title, okay? So I'll go with Alice Land. So we start off the duel between the first seat and Kirito. He has a thing for absorbing the blood or something in the other. Just, cutting people and makes him feel better about himself, and the power of the imagination takes over. And he's been doing these duels for a long time.
Right. Can I just say already, I do not like this imagination power thing.
Yeah, you said that last week too.
I know, but I'll use this fight as an example. The other guy, he had the willpower of his whole family passing down generation.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being on to make him want to be this.
And then Kirito just imagined all his friends and Asuna.
The power of love.
Yeah, and then it was like, well,
That's
can't.
the trope of anime. Anime, if you're a main heroine and you don't have the power of love and friendship behind you, you'll never achieve anything.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
No, I agree with you.
I understand a lot of anime have this the kind of like a friendship power up or fighting for your friends, but this is not how you would execute. Like this, he literally calls it the power of imagination, and it's hard to, especially when everyone can do it, because it's like an actual thing. So it's weird to have a fight. It's like, well, why can't the other guy just imagine harder? Like, how can you determine who imagines better?
Seems like because Lena, whatever, talks about how he's been doing this for a long time, and he's been building up, and then Kirito acknowledges, oh, he must have a strong imagination where he's just building off of this, right? But how do you determine who can have a stronger imagination or whatever? Why is Kirito just missing his friends trump the pressure of all this guy's family, right? Trump. It is a draw, so it's not really Trump's one or the other.
I do not like the draw either, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if they both imagine, let's just hypothetically say they both imagine they can't lose. Like, what is it? Does it then revert to skill? Who actually has more skill, or what? I don't understand where this power of imagination even comes in. Just to show Kirito can get strong by just thinking it. It seems to just
kind of an interesting concept because they are within the same world of the other games and stuff, as we've determined before. Because Kirito has the same skills and he can recognize the skills that guy's using. But how come their world, or their combination, gets this power of imagination? But when it's not really quite separated from the rest,
it's a very, I don't know. It just seems not well executed, in my opinion.
Yeah, not only that, but he also had Lena say, "I believe in you." Okay, so
right, okay.
It's oh, he can't touch you. You can't beat the first seat. Oh, so you're just gonna believe in him just because he says he has some hidden skill?
Right,
or
this is what I don't.
Hidden skill?
Okay, this is, I guess, my issue. We literally introduced these characters for Kirito to pretty much go toe to toe with them, right? First of all, that just doesn't feel very earned. That he just had a draw with this number one guy who apparently does this all the time, and then Kirito just, out imagines him to draw. I will say the animation is cool, but we expected that. But the whole concept behind it's I know it's been a small time skip, but does the training even matter if he can just imagine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's kind of dumb because first of all, yeah. He competes with the first seat. He technically, draws, which makes him one of the best there because no one else
he
can
doesn't
get
lose
to that level.
It's
and he gets 5th as a ranking towards the end.
Right.
How does he get 5th rank in Yu-Gi-Oh 6? Oh, Kirito just the elite disciple first seed could not beat Kirito. Fifth
I mean,
rank.
I guess
Who are these other four?
I
That are
guess
gonna
the
be ahead of him?
rules were different, but why wouldn't you show those fights? I'd be more interested in that, right?
Yeah, like who was he against, or what happened where he's fifth rank or sixth? I guess Yu-Gi-Oh could be fifth.
Right.
Because they
Also,
got,
this is just a
but
side note. His sword just grows bigger, I guess, when he
yeah,
imagines stuff.
yeah, well, yeah, it's a tree, so obviously trees
Dude,
grow.
when he said, I was like, okay, the tree, yes, the tree metal sword.
Oh my, and we do get more of kind of like Lena talking about a little more about the world, I guess, where there's this like set of skills that are passed on, kind of, but her family was like forbidden to pass them on, so they have to come up with their own move sets and stuff. She's like, oh, because it's our own sets, it'll never be as good as him. But then she saw Kirito using his own new move set that's unique, and she's like, oh, now I can have the confidence to know this can be equivalent to the other one, and now all of a sudden she's got the power,
Right,
and she
and
was
then
able to
she
beat the
beats
first
him.
seat because, first of all, the first seat, you know, he didn't seem upset about it. He actually was smiling and stuff there at the end after losing. It's like this guy who
Right.
seems like he was focused on always winning and being his goal was just, you know, nonchalant about it. It's like, oh, good job, you beat me. And it's like I don't know what his character is right now at all,
Right,
right?
especially when
He
it
seems like
showed,
an ass at first,
and
but then he's not.
and especially the emphasis on like the whole, the pass down of generations. It seems like he had a ton of pressure on him. Like, don't you think he would be a bit upset to not be number one? I'm sure he's expected to be number one. I mean, I don't know because these
Yeah, I don't
characters
know.
were just.
I don't know if we'll get back to him ever, right? Like, is any of this worthwhile?
That's what
Will
I'm
we
saying. If
come back to these
it
characters? Because
feels
it doesn't
like
feel like it.
it feels like they were just brought in to show, look, Kirito's strong. Like, you know what I'm saying? We introduced him. He fought with one.
And to emphasize the imagination part is really what it
Right.
comes down to.
I don't. I
And
know
then
they
guess
had like a little heart to heart moment, but it just doesn't feel very. Like, I barely know the character. Just because you had a 2-year time skip doesn't mean I have to assume they're close. I mean, yeah, I can assume they're close, but then, like, I could also assume they're not close. I would like to be shown, like, their connection before they're like, oh, yeah, you inspired me after your one fight because I believed in you because we spar sometimes, or a lot. It's like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, and then the other section, we got the bullies who were like mad that he competed with the first seed or something, but then they're still rude because he's a commoner, I guess, and they don't care. I don't know. They're
Definitely,
just there to kill the garden for some reason, right? No, I don't know why. They're just your school clown bullies.
definitely didn't see
whatever.
this coming.
And hey, yeah, and then we get the whole, the flowers represented Kirito's friends, and he misses them. So he grew a garden for 2 years so he could feel connected to them. And then, he goes crazy once again and starts hearing voices in his head where it's like, oh, magic is all about meaning. And long as you have meaning, you can accomplish things or something. And then the flowers gave life to other flowers. That's really how it breaks down.
I
So
mean,
I guess
that
we got...
is pretty much what happened. Okay, I understand, like, they're trying to, like, give Kirito character. But I do not buy for a second that he was that invested in those damn flowers. He tried... I mean, I guess maybe some people can relate to it. He's like, I feel like these flowers because they're, like, they don't bloom and stuff. And, like, they're I don't... He was, like, crying over the flowers. I'm like, yeah. I mean, what they did was clearly an asshole move. But him to, like... It just felt like... Not
Kirito.
right. It just felt weird. It's like, wait, you're actually...
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like every time, like...
It felt
each
forced,
show
I
is,
guess you
like,
could say.
Kirito is, like, just different or whatever. Like, it doesn't seem like a natural growth of him. But, yeah, I don't... He went... And it's hard, like, because of how they sped it up or whatever, it's hard to grasp the fact that he's been there for 2 whole years.
Right. And like this garden scene, like they showed him walking out of a garden one time, and then now he's sad, they're upset, and they grew back. It's like, it felt like you just used that whole thing to just introduce this, like, the magic has a meaning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it felt accelerated. It's like, by the way, this happens.
And it's like, has he been dealing with these bullies, or are they just like, decided this was the day they're going to pick on him after, he draws with the first seat?
Right.
Like,
after he clearly demonstrates how good he is, they're like, now we'll pick on him. Great opportunity.
You're not so great, commoner. There's a flower, you punk. It's like, okay. But yeah, it's just I don't know, it's just
it just felt forced how he was like,
it's hard to give that grasp
right.
of the fact that he's been there that long.
And the whole flower thing to me personally just felt forced. He's like he like said he's identifying with them, cut off from the real world. We got Klein
in an image. That flower was Klein on the right. The left one was, Asuna. That one. He named them all after his friends, okay?
I guess. It didn't really resonate with me, I will say that.
Yeah.
I did not give a single damn about the flowers, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah, it has to do with they haven't given any connection of Kirito to the world because of that skip.
Right, they just zoomed through it.
And then it's like, they didn't build any connection between him and anyone. It's just
right, like, okay.
Hey, Lena. Oh, you're gone, Lena. You graduated. Bye-bye.
Right, if I have to assume things, like, it's perfectly okay to have time skips, but most shows have time skips after they have well-established connections with characters, right?
Yeah.
But if I have to assume things between characters because I literally haven't seen them, that's not really good storytelling, I guess you could say. Like, if I have to assume he's close with...
He's been here for 2 years. How come he didn't know about Azurica and her importance and stuff by now? The girl that called the draw? I think her name was like Azurica.
Yeah, it was...
And they just taught about how she, back in something and the other, she was like, strong, competent, and she proved herself as like, we have to listen to her. And it's like, why are you just now learning this? Have you been here for 2 years? And I think that's what the thing. It's like, there's time skips, but if you're going to have a time skip in this 2 years, like, some of these things have to connect. Like,
right.
You can't just be like, now, here's this happening. And then how come Yu-Gi-Oh! Also just kind of been pushed off to the side, but he's also, like, the second biggest character in this world. Right. And, like, he has his own master who we saw. I don't even think he talked. We just saw him. Really? It's like, okay, we're going to get nothing with Yu-Gi-Oh! And his connection to the world, who's going to be helping Kirito save Alice, who I'm presuming is the voice talking to Kirito.
Right, right.
And then we got their own trainees, and now maybe their trainees are going to be important now. I don't know. Or if we're going to be like, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, again, like, don't forget why we're here. So it's like, next episode after, we're just going to get rid of these trainees that were just randomly added, who are building a bond with Kirito, and that one girl seems connected with him already after, like, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks or however long they've been together now at this point.
Right. It definitely feels like their next episodes to, because they showed the tower, which is like, it seems to be the end goal, right? Or the main objective for now.
Yeah, because the main objective is get Alice.
Right.
Who's at the tower.
But, like, they're going to the tower. I don't know. Because it's weird, because I have to, like, remind myself this is, like, a 40-episode thing. So, like, what's filling the gap, I guess you could say. Because it's definitely not the time spent at this academy. We kind of just zoo through that. So, maybe there's just a lot of conflict ahead. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, there has to be an end goal of being at this academy, right? And that's where last week I said I think their end goal is to be integrity nights where they can get closer to the tower or whatever. Maybe that's what this does.
Right. I
We
mean, they
don't
were
know.
promoted to what? Elite disciples? Is that what the term was?
Which is what Lena and the first guy
Right.
were.
Maybe that
They were
gives
elite
you
disciples.
extra access to things. I don't know. Maybe it was mentioned. I don't think it was.
No, not really. I don't think the why they're at the academy was ever mentioned either.
But
They don't answer a lot of whys.
I feel like a lot of assumption has to go on. I mean, obviously, I'm guessing they're at the academy to become better swordsmen. Like, to fight integrity knights, maybe? To become integrity. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like Kirito could do that.
Well, I mean, apparently, yeah. He just... I
He
don't
just
know.
has to imagine Alice needs him. And he's like, I'll save you!
Okay, so here's a
Wow.
hypothetical just because. Since
Yeah,
he
yeah.
imagined his friends in that fight, is that like his highest level of imagination power? You know what I'm saying? Like, is his
I
highest
guess,
level to
yeah.
be...
Nah, definitely not. He can imagine anything, man.
So something's going to be more important.
Because he's more self-aware than everyone else is when it comes to the whole imagination thing. He can just imagine something stronger. Because it's not like I don't feel like it was the first seat like imagination that's getting him strong. It's just he has the weight of the people behind him. It's not like I don't know if he's aware of the whole imagination factor, or if it's just the pressure of his family pushing down on him, making him want to strive to be there. That's because he has that strive. The world's making him stronger. He just doesn't realize it's because of his imagination power. Because he even talked with Kirito how he's out there training all the time. Whereas Kirito knows the more he imagines, the stronger he can get. So, because he's a game expert,
Right.
freaking nerd.
We'll see. It's not my favorite mechanic of the show, but that's the episode.
That is the episode. You wanna jump into scores?
Sure.
I think I'll give it a 5. It's an okay episode. It's just more of there's a lot of assumptions that have to take place. A lot of like whys that are still kind of in the air, and then it's just the animation really carries it.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I've said plenty
even the
times.
fight with like Lena in the first scene was like very short, but it was kind of cool. And it's like, yeah, we got that, but it's just more of the importance of these characters and why they're being added or why they're already gone or whatever.
Right.
And so it just seems unnatural. The first seat seemed unnatural when he lost.
I'll give it a 4. I'll say it was a bit below average. To me, I've already expressed my what's the word I'm looking for? Disagreement with the power of imagination thing. It just seems like a cop out written into the story, so when they need it, they can just pull it out whenever. Also, how I feel like these characters were introduced just to show Kirito strong, but from what we've seen from literally every Sword Art Online show ever, he's strong. He's been strong. I don't even think we've seen him really weak ever. The whole flower thing, to me, just felt a bit forced. I don't know. I didn't really care for the flowers. It literally just felt thrown in there to show this, like, the voice speaking to him, and then like how this
How magic works.
the magic works. I guess it has like meaning behind it, so it's like okay.
Yeah, because he was like, I don't think I can use magic, but it's like, no, you probably can. That's
Right,
what the point of that was,
like
to say, hey, now he can use magic and his sword skills. So come at me for a seat.
Right. It just,
Whoever the other 4 are ahead of him now.
who knows? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it just felt, I don't know. I guess I'm not really connecting with things they're showing too much. It just doesn't, it feels either forced or just like not genuine. To me, at least. Like his connection with the teacher, yeah, I guess it's a positive one. I can assume that, but like she like believed in him and then he won, and then he believed in her and she won. It's like, okay, I guess we earned that one.
All you have to do is believe in
Apparently
people.
this first seat
And
just
in
doesn't
yourself.
win ever. because we've seen him fight twice. He's 0-2. I mean, I guess he drew, but he's 0-1-1.
0-1-1, baby. I'm taking it.
I hope it improves, obviously. I will say the animation is amazing, but animation can only carry you so hard, in my opinion.
That's a fact. But I think
can't wait to have someone disagree with me, which is fine. But spiel time. Yay.
As always, if you want to get that first place ranking and stay there, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to be notified every time we upload. Comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the episode we didn't like, we score it, anything like that. Again, no confirming denying theories, as we are anime viewers only and plenty of others are. And until next time, peace out.
See ya.